Now, I realized that I hadn't shown you how I finished these off. I've been doing this a little bit differently. I've been dropping in a knot on the arms and legs. And then to kind of hide the tail, I've just been weaving it back through the blanket stitches. I mean, it's not anything fabulous. And then nipping it close. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just doing it that way. Now, like the leg, I've already started this here, so now I can take the broader end and push through. Now, when I'm pushing this through, I'm not pushing really hard this direction. I'm kind of trying to keep this under control. I'm doing more pulling from this direction, or pushing. And that's to make sure, if I can get that up, to make sure I'm not popping those stitches out completely. Now, again, I really like using the bone folder for this, and I did not actually mean this to work, but it like fits like a little glove, a little sheath on here. So you can see, if I can get those to focus. You gonna focus? No, you're not gonna focus. There we go. My lighting is terrible. So when it comes to adding in the little bean parts, we're going to be adding, these are the little pellets. You can see these here, just little plastic pellets. And I know if you don't want to use those and you just want to use stuffing, go ahead. I can understand if you don't want to use these. Now, one of the reasons why I have such tiny stitches here is precisely because I'm using these tiny little pellets. If I use a bigger stitch, the chances of the little pellet worming its way out between one of the stitches is greater. So we can see here on the example, I've only got a small amount of this stuffed. Part of that is so that the little arm, I think at this point, this has been my favorite way of seating her, with her little arms in like that. So this can move around. If I stuffed it all the way up to the top, A, it's going to be harder to sew into the body. And number two, it's just going to stick out straight. It's not going to droop a little bit. Now, same thing for the legs, although with the legs, I've got them a little bit more, about 1.5 centimeters from the top. And there's probably about 8 millimeters on the inside, so almost another centimeter. So you can hear them. Those are crunchy in there. And when I squeeze it, nothing's coming out. Okay? There's also some in here as well. But we're just going to think about the arms and legs right now. So, to get the pellets into the little hole here, I have a spoon, and what I do is I kind of put my hand around it and then just feed through, and you can see in there the little pellets are in there. And I put a little bit in to begin with because I want to make sure it gets all the way down to the tip of the toe. These pellets were inexpensive. They were, I believe, on Amazon. I got the smaller amount because I'm kind of new to this and I wanted to see if I really liked it or not. And then what I'm doing, because these are kind of like gravel in that they will settle to a lower spot, but you kind of have to agitate them a little bit so they go down in far enough. Sometimes I don't try to press too much because I don't want to push a seam open. Sometimes I'll do this to kind of wiggle them down a little bit more. And now it's feeling nice and solid, and I'm looking at the sides. It's looking nice, and probably a little bit more. I can tell you it's easier to put them in than it is to pull them out. And I use my tweezers just to kind of do the agitation. And I think I got actually a little bit too many. Okay, now, okay, are we in there? Okay, that feels pretty good. about right there. Now, you do that with all of your arms and legs. And again, let's do this one more time. Okay. Get that in there. Oops. Get this. It's kind of hard to do this so close up. Oh, and I didn't get it into the... There we go. Because you notice what I did here is I went and did this. It kind of makes some more space in there. Sorry, I got a little distracted. I was looking at another part of my video playback. Okay, and then I just hold them up next to each other, and it's like, this is where this one ends, and I still need to add a little bit more in here. And I use the spoon. You can see how little I'm putting in at a time. Okay. Let's see. This feels pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Those are stuffed about with the little bean bags, the little beanie weenies that you want in there. Now, like I said, if you don't want to use the beans, the little plastic pellets, you can just stuff this normally, but still only stuff it up to this level, because you do want the legs to be able to move back and forth, because this is a really super simple seam. There isn't any back portion here. There's no front portion. It's simply, the limb is simply stitched into the seam. So if you want a greater range of motion, you need to not stuff it all the way to the top. Now, the same thing goes for arms. Starting out with just a few. Get them down there into the bottom. And if you don't have a pair of tweezers, but you got a chopstick, that'll work. Or this is a meat skewer. Just something to kind of agitate them down in there so it gets down into the bottom. And like I said, you're not going to go all the way up. It's only about to there that you want these. So once those are done, then you can basically just set them aside. If you're afraid that the little pellets are going to come out, say you're making a couple of these at a time, or you're going to have to stop for whatever reason, if you stick a pin in like this and just leave them, I mean, the little pellets won't come out. Because they kind of, within the wool, they seem to kind of grab on a little bit. Does that make sense? Because the wool's a little bit more textured. So, once you've stuffed all the arms and the legs, you can set them aside and then move on to the ears.